Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. As per the prediction of World Bank and IMF, 3 years more in 2024, but this year is nearly ending, India would be the third largest economy. Well, that's good news for the Indians. But then, is the governance in India sufficient to ensure that the gains of the economy are evenly distributed? Let's be very clear that governance is something which is of the prime need of the people. The old people in India still remember the justice, the equity that was there during the colonial period, despite the fact that they didn't have the right to vote. But then they had assurance of justice which is lacking today. And any system of government which ensures that the people don't get justice, that the hopes and of the people are not fructified, is not worth a soul. One thing absolutely commendable about India is that despite all the problems, it has adhered to the parliamentary system of democracy. But then the question arises, is it sufficient? And if we conduct an audit of the same, we would find that it is not. The parliamentary system is alien to the tradition of India. India traditionally reveres authority. India wants democracy, but then it's too large and populous a country to have a sort of parliamentary democracy. The parliamentary genre of administration was created in a small island, which is not even 1/20th of India. That's England. It could happen there, and as we had discussed earlier, in Athens and Sparta, city states of Greece, or in the ancient India when the panchayat, the villages used to be self sufficient, and each country was a city, they were city states. It was okay, it could be permitted. But the fact that the parliamentary system has failed, along with the other failures, needs people think about how they are going. In India, there are many holy cows. One holy cow is the Supreme Court. The other is the holy cow is a so-called freedom of speech and expression. But the biggest holy cow is the Constitution. India is the only country in the world where members of the parliament and the state legislatures swear by the Constitution. They took an oath. And the first thing they do is to throw the spirit of the Constitution in the nearest garbage bin. And imagine, this Constitution has been amended a score of times simply because it could not keep pace with the aspirations of the people, for one, but most importantly, it could not keep the authorities satisfied with their rule. When socialism failed everywhere, India amended its constitution to incorporate the word socialist society. And then in 1991, when the liberalization started, the socialism was given a goodbye. So when the legislators swear by the Constitution that they'll uphold the Constitution and the socialist pattern, and the next moment they are liberalizing, they are inviting foreign investment, they are promoting capitalism, is that not negating the Constitution? So that shows that the people don't need that. The country doesn't need that. It was a political action, should not have been incorporated in the Constitution, but it was done. And no government has been sensible enough to remove that. The second holy cow, secular. You remember in one of my comments I had discussed that how secular is being misinterpreted and misapplied. So then what happens? The whole constitution becomes a mere shred of paper. You remember before the Second World War, Weimar Constitution of Germany was supposed to be the best written constitution. And that constitution was used by Hitler to become a dictator. I'm not saying that the constitution of India would be misused for anybody to become a dictator, but it's as useless a document today. It was an excellent document when it was prepared. Absolutely. The best parts of the word constitutions were incorporated, and this is the bulkiest, largest written constitution. It goes into minute details, and some of those details are not required. US Constitution is very small, pocket size, and is sufficiently eh, helpful for the governance. It has to be amended much less time than Indian Constitution has been in the last 70 years. Now let's see what's wrong with the Constitution. First, as I said, is socialism. The very concept of socialism is an outmoded concept. It's very good to give people hope. But we have seen that socialism breeds indolence, breeds hypocrisy, and breeds those activities which are injurious to the country as a whole. And as I said, the very concept of a capitalism and an open society and liberalized businesses, where people like Ambani could become the third largest energy producers countries in the world. So what are we doing here? Talking of socialism, people swearing by socialism, and then going against the concepts of socialism in the first go. So that's the first thing to go. Socialism as a concept has to be thrown the garbage. Second is, as I said, secularism. Secularism is a holy cow that has been used to strengthen two things: either majoritarianism, which is wrong by itself, or to create vote banks of the minorities. That has to go, definitely. Similarly, the directive principles have to go. Imagine in the directive principle, this mentioned that the cows would not be killed, and the largest exporter of cows is a Jain, a non-violent religion, who would not wear shoes so that the worms may not be crushed underneath. They are the largest exporters and the slaughterhouses of bovine meat. Anyway, nothing wrong with that. So the directive principles have no meaning. They change according to the needs of the time, so they need not be there. So the socialism has to go, secularism has to go, directive principles have to go. Then the federal structure has to go. Today, we have seen that small regional parties hold sway, and that those leaders do not have a national perspective. Let's be very clear. Whatever those people might say, they might talk of the pan India, but they're thinking essentially at the level of the provincial level. The Punjab Chief Minister would talk of Punjab, the Haryana would talk of Haryana, UP would talk of UP. They would not talk of India. And it is a duplication of the authority, so much so that many times, in case that different parties go, there can be conflicts. India needs a unitary form of government. We can say that the present constitution is quasi-federal, is not 100% federal, but there's a need. If a state, a province like UP, which is larger than England and France, can be there, so why not it be on a larger scale? If I take the federal concept to the logical extreme, there will not be 29 states in India, there will be at least 50 states because the diversity is so much. Even in Nagaland, there are about 8 tribes, each would need to be independent. In Punjab, there will be 3 more parts, Majha, Malwa, and Doaba. Punjab by itself is not monolith, though it's very small province. UP has been divided 2 times, and it can still be divided in 4 times into 4. So means about Madhya Pradesh. Already there's a demand for Vidarbha. Telangana was created now, and there'll be demand for more. So what we need is a unitary form of government where the local leaders at the municipal level and the village level are elected, do their job, and they're elected. And then secondly, the parliamentary system has to go. Even now, parliamentary system is just a name. Do you ever think that the 3 strong prime ministers in India has ever seen? Jawaharlal, Indira Gandhi, and Narendra Modi. Any parliament can rein them in. They want what they say, and their word is law. They're practically dictators. So the parliamentary system is no existent. It's by default not there. Prime Minister is supposed to be the prime minister inter pairs, first among the equals. By any stretch of imagination, can you imagine Modi to be equal to, say, Smriti Irani? No. The concept of first among equals doesn't exist. People look up to the prime minister or the leader as a leader. So why not have a president and even the voting when it's done? Imagine. Voting is not done on the basis of the party manifestos. Party manifestos are prepared, but they are for the consumption of hacks of journalism or the TV anchors who keep on discussing them. But for the common people, that has no meaning. Modi won because of inefficiency of Manmohan government, not for Hindutva. Let's be very clear. The hope given by the Modi. So, A, the political manifestos have no meaning. B, the leaders are the vote catching. Votes are not given to the party, they are given to the person who is going to be the prime minister. Even now, their projection is Rahul to be the future prime minister, so he should be the president of the Congress party. Not that the party has a certain political agenda, no. Same is about BJP, same is about everybody. So when the reality is the elections are for the leader and not for the party manifesto, where's the need of having this camouflage of parliament where we spend money unnecessarily And how much time do they spend on the legislature? 21 bills were passed in 2 days. That's a record of the Indian Parliament. Can any person agree that 600 odd people can discuss 27 bills in 2 days and come to a decision, especially when they don't have any understanding? 30% being criminals and are engaged in their thoughts about how to increase their criminal empire. The rest are absolutely ignorant, just mob leaders. And then we say that in it suggests the parliament has decided to do or take action. It's bullshit. It's humbug. Why cannot we have a direct election and the presidential form of government be there? It is indeed Shashi Tharoor who wrote an article, and I disagree with Shashi most of the time, but here he is right. But I don't agree with Shashi that only the parliamentary system should be there. I would say that the whole constitution of India needs to be rewritten, taking into consideration that these concepts of secularism, socialism have to be given a goodbye. Federal system must go. That is the way for the national unity and Indianness. Otherwise, Punjabiyat, Kashmiriyat, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Utkal, Banga, all those parochial concepts would keep on growing and dissipating any unity that might be there. And that's why we see unity in India only at the time of war. Otherwise, this is a mini UNO parliament. It's not a deliberative action, it's a innuendo hurtling people, mob. And the one thing more, uniform civil code. The new constitution must ensure that the citizens will be covered by a common civil code, and that will replace secularism. Because when there's a uniform civil code, then all are equal before law. Sikhs want their marriage act. Hindus have the Hindu code bill. Muslims have the Muslim personal law. What nonsense! Indians should have one common law that is applicable to all. So what is needed is, now that Modi has absolute majority in both the houses, he should constitute a new constituent assembly which should rewrite the constitution taking care of these parameters, and let a new document be prepared so that a new era of proper governance without camouflage of hypocrisy and false declarations that have no meaning, no validity, and that document shall be the guiding factor for governance, not something to be worshipped, but to be implemented and practiced. Don't you think so? Thank you.